Good morning, Hamilton. Happy Monday, November 23rd, 2020. Mrs. Cashman, it is Thanksgiving week. It's finally here. We made it.
And I think it's a much needed break coming up for everybody. So kiddos, don't forget, today and tomorrow are still school days. So you have to Zoom with your teacher today and Zoom with your teacher tomorrow, and then do any seesaw work that's assigned today and tomorrow. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and next Monday are all yours, kiddos, all yours.
And then fingers crossed, we're back in school on December 1st. So,
Yep.
hey kids, we should see you on the 1st of December.
And please don't forget that and talk that over with your families, that as of right now, the Carlisle School District is planning to go back on December 1st. That's Tuesday. So if any of you hear anything different, then it might change. But as of right now, talk to your families and remind them that that's what's happening. It's always a good reminder.
So we made it. 2 more days of hard work, being productive, being scholars, and we get to then enjoy the break. So
Absolutely.
well, last week's word of the week I'm going to keep, like I said last week. Last week we did the word. Can you see it? There you go.
There it is.
Famished. Famished, and famished means incredibly hungry, and I figured it's a good one for Thanksgiving because we're all going to be famished come Thursday, thinking about all of that delicious food. So try to use the word famished this week.
And you know what, Mr. Susser, I was kind of thinking, I thought about this word actually when my son, my youngest son, who we call Mooney, his real name's William, Mooney was kind of famished, and I was thinking how nowadays it kind of sounds a little bit like it's like another word for hangry, kind of like you're famished,
really
you're so hungry that like you're getting like angry and you can't just control your emotions. And that's exactly how he was yesterday. And I even said to him, I was like, you are famished, just eat something, please. Because he was being very particular about what he wanted. And I thought about that. It's almost like you can become hangry when you're famished.
Yeah, sometimes you don't even know you're famished until you start to till your attitude
take the
changes
first
a little
bite.
bit. Right. And you take that first bite.
Then you're like,
something.
oh.
I was really hungry. Such a grouch.
I think kids do that a lot too. So make sure, kiddos, that sometimes that could be why you're feeling that way.
So you might be feeling famished this week, but we also want you to use the word famished this week. Impress your family before Thanksgiving or sometime this week and be like, Mom, I can't wait to have turkey dinner because I am feeling so famished. And see what they do. Impress them.
They'll be so impressed with you.
They will.
All right. Well, Hamilton, we would like to share with you some information about the Wampanoag Native Americans. And a lot of times the reason we'd like to share this today is because they are the tribe that lived here in America in the area of Massachusetts and Plymouth, where we often hear the story of the first Thanksgiving. And we know that the way history tells that story is not always the correct way. Even the way that Mr. Susser and I learned about it when we were growing up was not really the truth of the history of the details. It wasn't as nice and wrapped up in a little bow on that first Thanksgiving as people like to make it out that way. So we're going to go ahead and celebrate these Wampanoag Native Americans and maybe learn a little more about them today. So let's go ahead and share that. And there we go. Okay, it says, who are the Wampanoag? And then you can see that it was written by someone who is part of that tribe and who really, really understands it, and that is their culture. Now, before we start, though, I do want to take you to take a look at this picture right there. And I want you to think in your mind, do you think that that's the way, if you went to Massachusetts right now and you were visiting, do you think you would see a Wampanoag woman standing there at the corn dressed that way on a normal day, like if you drove there right now? What do you guys think? No, yeah, I would hope they'd say no, right, Mr. Susser?
Yeah.
Because you have to remember that Native American people, they look just like us, right? Like the Wampanoag people aren't walking around Massachusetts in an outfit like that, unless perhaps they're doing it for a special ceremony that they're having and they're celebrating their culture. or unless it's a special festival where they are teaching people about Native American culture, they might dress in their, what we would call kind of their ancestral clothing, which means the clothing that people wore long ago. But I want you guys to really remember that they look just like you and me. The kids look just like you guys. The adults look just like Mr. Slusser and myself, you know, wearing the same kind of clothes and things like that.
Now, their clothing is quite important to them. Their regalia or their costume, if you want to even call it that, it was really important, and it means a lot. Everything that they put on means something very different. So they wouldn't just wear it on everyday occasion because they're not really celebrating anything on every day. So they only put that on when like they're celebrating or they want to honor someone. So that's just, you wouldn't see it very often, like looking like that.
Right. Like for example, Hamilton, my family and my culture is Greek. My family is Greek. My grandfather immigrated. That means he came here and moved here when he was a young man from the country of Greece. And March 25th is Greek Independence Day, just like 4th of July is for America. And we wear a very special costume on that day. And even growing up, I wore that costume on March 25th and we had celebrations. And it has really big shoes and a little hat and a really fancy kind of coat or dress for the girls. And Hamilton, I'll tell you that you don't see Greek people, Greek American people, or Greek people even that live in Greece walking around wearing that every day. They save that for like a special time of the year. It's the same thing with other cultures as well, like the Native Americans. So a lot of times in pictures, we see them looking just like this, but really, they look just like normal people. So let's see what this says. It says the Wampanoag are one of many nations of people all over North America who were here long before any Europeans arrived and have survived until today. Many people use the word Indian to describe us, but we prefer to be called Native people. And I like that because they were Native people. They were here before anybody else. Our name, Wampanoag, means people of the first light. In the 1600s, we had as many as 40,000 people in the 67 villages that made up the Wampanoag Nation. These villages covered the territory along the east coast as far as Wessagusset, today called Weymouth, all of what is now Cape Cod and the islands of Nantucket and Noe, now called Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard, and southeast as far as Hockanacket, now Bristol and Warren, Rhode Island. We have been living on this part of Turtle Island for over 15,000 years. Oh, Mr. Susser, these kids should know maybe why it's called Turtles Island.
Oh, that's right, maybe.
The Wampanoag, like many other Native people, often refer to the earth as Turtle Island. Well, so if you think about that story we heard about the earth on Turtle's back.
We told you the turtle is very important to the Native people.
Today, about 4,000 to 5,000 Wampanoag live in New England. There are three primary groups, Mashpee, Akina, and Menomet, with several other groups forming again as well. Recently, we also found some of our relations in the Caribbean islands. These people are descendants of native Wampanoag people who were sent into slavery after a war between the Wampanoag and English. We, as the people, still continue our way of life through our oral traditions, the telling of our family and nation's history, ceremonies, the Wampanoag language, song and dance, social gatherings, hunting, and fishing. The Wampanoag homeland provided bountiful food for fulfillment of all our needs. It was up to the people to keep the balance and respect for all living beings and to receive all the gifts from the Creator. We were seasonal people living in the forest and valleys during winter. During the summer, spring, and fall, we moved to the rivers, ponds, and ocean to plant crops, fish, and gather foods from the forests. Because of many changes in North America, we as the Wampanoag cannot live as our ancestors did. We adapt, but still continue to live in the way of the people of the first light.
There you have
So
it.
I thought that was a very good article here and give us some very good information about that Wampanoag tribe and, you know, how they might live today celebrating their culture.
And it's really nice to like, they don't live the exact same way that their ancestors did, but there's so many parts of their past that they still do and use today. For example, their language. They don't always use their language when they're in Massachusetts or Rhode Island. They probably know English just like you and I. But then when they're around their tribe or around their family or around their people, they use their tribe, their language, and they speak their language because that's a way to honor their ancestors and honor their traditions and their culture. So it's kind of cool to hear the author that say, you know, we have a lot of we don't live that same way, but we still have a lot of parts and pieces of our past that are just a part of our present.
And I think that's probably the most important thing that we've been talking about that we want you guys to learn and to take away every day is to remember that that is why we must respect cultures that are different from ours, because they're very important to those people because it's the way their past was, the past of their family and how they came to be. So it's important that we respect them so that they can still use their language, that they can still have their traditions, but yet we can all live together in America, even if we're
Absolutely.
different. So I think that's the most important thing to remember this Thanksgiving is to respect all others and show gratitude for all the differences that we have. And that's the best thing you can do.
It's really quite special, actually. Really quite cool.
It is. It's what makes America so great and makes America what America is.
That's right.
So, all right, guys. Well, that about wraps it up for the Vision today. We thank you for watching. And we hope you guys have a wonderful Monday. Go take care of Zoom and take care of that work. And we'll see you back here tomorrow.
Bye-bye, Hamilton.
Oops.